We traveled to Central Washington in the Schoonover-Ontario colony for today's Chop Shop. Now, what attracted me to this shop was how the colony used an existing building, which came with the farmstead they bought, to create one of the hardest working shops I've ever seen. Each and every task is tackled here, from changing oil to rebuilding engines to fabricating machinery. Let's go talk to Herb Walter about the colony shop. This is a colony that's just not two crops, which you'd find typical of a lot of Midwest farms. You have a lot of moving parts to this operation. What are the crops that you're raising?
Well, the main one is wheat, and then potatoes, and then there's canola seed.
Really? That's quite
Canola
a
seed.
process in itself,
Yes,
isn't
and
it?
then there's alfalfa, and then there's Timothy hay.
The colony came here, and this building was already here at that time then.
Yep.
And it came with the door placement and the way it was laid out. So at that point in time, it was pretty much a bare shop. How did you kind of decide to lay stuff out? Or was that just evolved over time?
Evolved, because everything like it is now wasn't in the first 10
Right.
years.
Well, and you were doing a lot of fabrication work and things like that. So I noticed one of the nice things you have the main door at the end, pretty typical for shop, but you have the two side doors, which is kind of nice to have.
Yep.
So you'll have access. So how many vehicles, like in the winter, will you be working on in here at one time? You'll pack
Maybe 4.
Really?
Pack them in.
So the type of work you're doing is just not repair and maintenance, just light maintenance. You're doing fabrication in here, major welding.
Trailers, repairing trailers.
Right. One of the neatest things I've ever seen, and never seen this in a farm shop before, grocery carts. Where did you come up with that idea?
Just seen one laying around and decided, let's do something with this thing.
So you adapt the cart to the need. Right. You have all kinds of variations. You even have a 6-wheeled cart there.
Yep.
So that was because it was a heavier load.
Heavier weight.
One of the best features of the colony shop is their extensive parts storage. In addition to the parts room they have behind me here, they also have, for example, hydraulic parts on a roll-around cart that they can take right to the equipment in the shop. Another nice feature I really liked was your parts storage. You have the loft with the bigger items. But what do you have back in the room here then?
The nuts and bolts and small rivets and grease fittings.
And all the cabinets too.
All the cabinets full of...
Wow, that's a wealth of parts storage they have. So what did you determine you needed? Was it over time you thought, well, we'll lay in, such a side bolt, or was it one of those things that grew as
It grew.
Right.
Yeah, just more and more always.
We've featured welding booms before, but none this long at 20 feet, or one that can be elevated so that you could drop the wire feeder and the gun inside a trailer. Besides the shopping cart you innovated, you have a welding boom. Now, I've seen welding booms before, but not quite like this. This is a pretty heavy-duty unit, and then it also, describe this, how you built that and some of the features.
Just decided there's a beam in the shop. We'll put her against the beam so it can fold outside the building.
Oh, so it's in near that door.
It's near the door, so it can go outside the building with a running welder on it, sliding welder, and we can go up and down with the boom to get into trailers very high.
Oh yeah, a grain trailer
trailers
or your potato trailers or what have you. Use like about a 3 or 4 inch I-beam?
I think it's a 6-inch.
6-inch. So that has a lot of strength. How long is that?
I think it's 20 foot.
So you have quite a reach, and it's a jib. It jibs around or swings around. And then you put the Miller unit, that's the remote unit, at the end with the spool, and then that rolls out on a little caster, a dolly that you guys built in. And this was just wheels that you found or you put together. So when it swings out, you'll take the door. If you have something outside you have to weld, you can take that in as high as the door and then reach quite a ways out and do the welding. So you use that quite a bit. Ask Herb Walter one of the best investments that they made in the colony shop. He would say it would be this auto lift. Herb, the one thing I noticed over here, auto lift, and I get a lot of debate from guys wondering if they ought to put one in or not. Was it a good investment for you?
Yes, that's the second one already.
Oh, you've already worn one out, or?
Didn't wear it out, but it's just too small for the newer pickups.
So what capacity will that?
The old one was 6,000. This one here is 14.
Oh, 3/4 ton trucks,
Yeah.
and the larger ones
Yep.
that are getting larger.
Oh, yes.
And you could put a dually truck pickup
Easy.
on that. And that's why you position between that particular door, because you can just drive it in, do the
Right,
work.
yep.
And then your lubrication storage is over in that corner of the shop then, close to where you'd be doing that work.
Yep.
So what's the advantage of a lift? Does it save you when you're like doing chassis lubes and stuff like that?
Yeah, lube and working transmission, checking oil.
Yeah. And that's a huge advantage to be able to get it up in the air.
And we couldn't have a pit in this shop because of Rome.
Oh.
So that was the only thing that
Right.
worked, is that kind of a lift.
The other feature your son pointed out to me was you ran out of storage for stuff, and your solution was, because you've got some other building plans here. You want to add another potato storage building and other buildings that you're putting up for all the different functions of the colony. You needed storage, so where did you turn to get extra storage?
Those shipping containers.
Yeah, and you were just finding those.
We're just finding those around for dirt cheap.
And you have containers dedicated to certain parts.
Certain parts, yeah.
So that's your extra storage that comes along.
Yeah, for tires and
Yeah.
for cementing and construction, ones for irrigation.
Kind of a great way to be able to add
Oh
storage,
yes,
isn't it?
very good.
So in the future, any future plans for the shop? You're thinking maybe expanding it?
Oh yes, we're always planning, but
Would you use this as the base then and then
No.
add onto it?
no, I don't think so.
You would start from
Start
scratch.
a new shop.
Yeah. So if there was one thing or a couple things you'd like to add, which you would in the new shop, would that be ventilation or bigger welding area or just bigger space?
Maybe a crane.
Oh, a trolley crane.
Yeah, this shop does not have a crane. That's about the only thing.
Yeah. You're using forklifts.
Forklifts
instead to
right
be able
now,
to-
and it's working.
Yeah, it seems to work along the way. We're going to have to return to the Schoonover shop in the future as Herb and his crew are contemplating an addition to this side of their existing building. And I can't wait to see what they come up with. I'll see you again next week on another Top Shop Tour. Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great videos.